There. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hey, how you doing? I have a new camera or phone mount, and I'm trying it out. We'll see if it's not too wiggly or if it doesn't drop my phone or anything. So, pretty nice, pretty sweet. I like it. All right. So, main point of this video, I suppose, is to continue to try to synthesize out an experience I've had earlier this morning, which has many applications, and so it's been hard to synthesize. I made one video to a small group I'm a part of, and it was a friggin' mess, but enough talk, let's try to get to it. All right. So the gist of the dream I had last night was that I was the inheritor of a culture, basically. My intuition is that it was 30 years old, but it was an intense culture. Intense in the way the Jewish culture is. Like that level of rigor and intensity already in just 30 years. So, obviously, if you could achieve that, you could solve the religion that is not a religion problem. Granted, my intuition is that it was only a 1 to 5% of the population of America, but that's still pretty dang good. I mean, that's at least 1 million people, if not more, probably more. So, okay, so the most significant thing I was given two things. I was given a book and I was given a puzzle. The puzzle I was given first, and I had a booklet with it, a little paper fold-out booklet that was a video. Like you unfold it, and instead of looking at pictures, a video played. And I didn't find this at all strange or surprising. It was just one of the details of the dream, and it showed the pieces of the puzzle arranged in a very specific way, kind of like that, only with more dynamics happening and all these. It looked like a small sculpture, to be honest. So I start looking for the pieces to make that, and I find that instead of one set of puzzle pieces, I have many. Now, in the dream, I didn't realize that it looks as if I had 6 different puzzles. And they were stacked, and they each had different colors and stuff. And I was trying to figure out how to pop each puzzle apart. They were in rectangles. Pop them apart so that I could form what was on the cheat sheet or the instruction manual, which was also a video. And so that's interesting. It's such an interesting way the unconscious used to. It knows that now when I want to know something, 90% of the time I go look at a video. But it hasn't quite got. It wanted this thing to be an instruction manual that you are handed, and so instead of generating images on the instruction manual, it just stuck a video in there. It's brilliant. I love it. Thank you, unconscious. So I'm always distracting myself and getting derailed. So let me see if I can find my spot again. All right, so that was the first point. The second point was the image, the book. So the book is the language. It's not at first. At first, it is the main artist of the movement, his work. But it becomes a way of learning, and I should say his art uses their language, and I'll explain it in a second. But then it became a way of learning that language, and how that worked was that the each image, each page is a sentence, or at least something like a sentence, a statement. Maybe statement is better than sentence. And so there were generally people, symbolic artifacts, and a ribbon. How the ribbon interwove between the people and the objects and the landscape was kind of like the grammatical syntax of the language, the linear progression, if you will. Or at least that was the impression I had. But that ribbon can also wrap around things. It can kind of wave, or it can knot around something in different kinds of bows and different kinds of knots. And each of those represented something different, a different meaning to the flow. I have no idea what, but this could be the basis for a procedural, linear visual language. A truly symbolic language, right? Because it's actually 100% symbolism, but it can have a key, right? How well that'll work? Well, hopefully, because of the linear language, it is that ribbon, it is now linear. And because it is linear, it can be procedural and propositional. Because it cannot be those things if there is no linearity to it. If it is a gestalt, like the perspectival and the propositional. The fourth one that I can never remember all four at the same time. It's bizarre. So the other diagram I saw, I didn't really see the diagram about the ribbon. I intuited the meaning of the ribbon, like deeply. But there were many diagrams of different facial expressions, mainly in the mouth, which is interesting because the mouth is grasping. The grasping mind looks at the mouth. The open left hand looks at the features of the eyes, because these are more fine-tuned. So it's like one of the expressions was kind of like, I can't do it. It was fully a 45-degree angle to the mouth. I guess that's not humanly possible, but in the visual language it was, and it was kind of it was kind of the frown face, or the smirking face. I don't know about that face, but it was smiling at the same time. So wow, that's interesting. A smiling smirk as a proposition, as a word, if you will, in a visual matrix. And that's all I had. I could go a little bit into more detail, but I don't think I will. I don't think it's as important. There's a lot of emotional nuances within me. I was becoming partially lucid, and that appeared to have an effect on the dream, because the flow of the dream changed when one of my a part of my personality emerged into lucidity to like kind of manipulate it. But those are all issues for another topic. Let's see if I can apply it. Okay, to the group primarily. The idea, let's say we use this, and I mean, this was almost a religious experience to me, this dream, and the feelings I had, because, well, I'll tell you why, even though I might not be able to get to the application. That's fine, I guess. The dream was almost religious because I woke up at 3:45 needing to pee, which is also why I could remember the dream, by the way. But not as bad as I often do. And so I laid in bed for a long time just thinking of this dream and slowly waking up. My alarm goes off at 4:20, by the way. So I had 35 minutes in which to think about this dream, integrate it, and then finally decide at about 4 o'clock to try to write it down, or rather record it. And what I did when I recorded it, I recorded it, not very well, did audio, and I finished, and I had about 8 minutes to lay in bed before my alarm went off, and then I shot out of bed, and my thoughts were just all over the place, but they're all about all the things our group had been talking about, and how they overlapped, and how, interestingly enough, the video they shared with me last night, or FireLogic shared with me last night, had a huge impact on the other two members of our group, and I was not very interested because of fear and anxiety, because I knew that what we had to offer them would be to reach out to them and say, hey, we have these structures, these might help you. And I was like, they're not gonna give a rip. They're not gonna give a rat's ass about me and my thoughts. But that's not necessarily true. That's my anxiety. That's my fear. So it'll be interesting to share it and see where that goes. Share our ideas. And it'll be interesting to decide if the group wants to try to make this language. And I have a lot of other things to unpack, but I gotta go to work right now. Thank you very much.